This video is for everyone stuck in the slow progress trap. You're doing the right things, but you're not seeing the results at the rate that you want to see it. I'm going to show you literally how to level up so fast it feels illegal. Go from no one to someone, in other words. Now, why do I even qualify to talk about this topic? Within 6 months with no experience, I scaled to over 10K per month online with high ticket sales. I now live in Bali. I've got a brotherhood. I'm in the best physical shape of my life and I'm making money online. And I'm 19, but it all comes down from self-development. The first strategy is to work 7 days a week. Now, before you click off this video, just wait, let me explain. Most people work Monday to Friday, so they get the work done over that week. However, when the weekend comes, Saturday and Sunday, they don't work. They lose momentum. I'm not saying you have to work 24/7, but if you worked, let's say 8 to 10 hours a day, Monday through Friday, and a half day on both Saturday and Sunday, you're using that momentum from the weekday and you're carrying that over to the weekend, right? So you can get ahead for your next working week. That also builds discipline. And with something like sales, for example, which is what I do, if I'm sitting calls on both Saturday and Sunday, my skill is staying sharp, right? It's like if you're doing marketing, for example, and you're reading analytics and you're tweaking marketing and like the ad spend on the weekend, you're staying sharp in the field of craft that you specialize in. So when you start on Monday, a lot of people, for the first part of Monday, for the first half of the day, they're slow, they're not on, their brain isn't firing because they've had 2 days off. So if you continue that momentum throughout the full week, 7 days a week, because you're in flow, so you make shit happen. Now, the next point, only invest into yourself. This is riskier, but it pays way more dividends. What I'm saying is, don't put some money away don't get me wrong, having some living expenses, a bit of an emergency fund, I agree with that. But don't be putting money away to buy real estate or to buy stocks. You don't want to invest in the S&P 500 at this point. You want to invest in the SME 500. What that means is every dollar you earn until you're making 5 figures a month, I want you to invest into books. I want you to invest into like one-on-ones, PTs, whether that's in the gym or one-on-ones with like a mentor. Invest in programs, into courses, into education, into a camera, into things that actually support your goals directly. When you commit to investing into yourself for the rest of your life, granted, the more money you make, the more you will put that towards traditional assets such as real estate, index funds, bonds, etc., etc. Now this brings me on to my next point, which is either do your deep work blocks in the early mornings or later at night. This is when people are sleeping or they're preoccupied with something else. If you try to do your deep work around midday, you should have your phone out of your room, I will add, that people can message you, you might have some calls coming through on your computer, and your brain doesn't have the mental energy it has at either in the morning or in the night. So for me personally, I work in the morning. I know some people that work in the night. So find whatever works for you, put a reoccurring time in your calendar to get the majority of your deep work done in this time. This is when your brain is heightened, especially in the morning. Now you might be thinking, reoccurring time block in your calendar, what do you mean? That's the next point, is to follow a calendar habitually. I will add, sometimes life gets in the way, but if you can follow your calendar 80 to 90% of the time, that's 80 to 90% of the time that's going towards your goals. Imagine the person you'll become. So I use Google Calendar. I create it on my computer, looking all color-coded, nice and pretty, recurring tasks. So when I wake up in the morning, I just follow this script to my movie. I know exactly what I need to do because I've either set it out on the calendar or I've edited it the night before. Like I said, sometimes things change. But when you wake up and you literally just follow the script to your movie, you follow the plan, you're not acting on your emotions, you're acting from logic. Because if you don't have anything in your calendar, oh, what do I feel like doing now? Oh, I might go to the gym, might do some deep work. We don't want that. That's decisions. Wasted energy on decision fatigue and decisions that don't need to be made. So follow your freaking calendar because we've all got the same 24 hours in the day and time management is everything. That's why you see some people that just stay in a 9 to 5 for the rest of their life and you see some people become multi-billionaires. All got the same time. It's just how you use it. Quick side note, a few of you guys aren't subscribed. Join the rest of the community, hit subscribe below, and also follow me on Instagram. Now back to the video. The next point is actually getting a mentor. The reason we invest with a mentor is this goes back to the point of investing into yourself. If we can invest fiat currency, right, money, into someone who has done exactly what we want to do in that space. For me, investing in a sales mentor who's made 5 figures plus per month. We can learn from all of their lessons and failures, right? The best lessons are failures, but those failures don't have to be yours. so we can get a full blueprint on what to do and how to do it and when to do it. So you're not wasting time having contradicting learnings on YouTube, Google, any of that bullshit. We have one plan and we follow it with that mentor. But make sure you do your research to make sure you're investing with the right person. This brings me to my next point. We want to make sure we live with like-minded people. So when I moved out from my family home with my parents into a villa here in Bali with my brother and one of our best mates, we are all chasing success and our goals. So we constantly bounce ideas off each other and we hold ourselves accountable because we are in an environment of winners. So winners rub off on winners, right? If we're all working towards our goal, I want to be around people that have that same energy. They wake up with that same vigor, like, let's get after it, boys. Let's make some money. Let's train, because we hold ourselves accountable to that next level. And if you can move to a third world country, while you're on the come up, right? While you're making around 5 figures per month, that's when I suggest, or below. If you've got some money behind you and you move to somewhere like Southeast Asia, maybe in Eastern Europe in some parts, or South America, you can make money in like AUD or USD and spend it in their local currency, right? Your money goes a lot further, meaning you get more bang for your buck. You have an increased standard of living, meaning you can invest more into yourself to ultimately make more money in the future. I spend 2,000 AUD per month on rent, and this is where I live. I've got a beautiful pool, I'm in a villa with the boys, right? I've got a big room. But if I spent $2,000 a month in Australia, on the Gold Coast where I'm from, I wouldn't get this. It's a hack from me living in Bali, right? So I suggest you do something similar. And the next tip is to cut out all of the lemons in your life. Like I said, moving in with like-minded people changes everything. But if you've got people that they've got limiting beliefs, they're not on their shit in a certain aspect of life that you want to duplicate or follow, cut them out. They are bringing you down, they're lowering your frequency. They are getting into your mind with all these limiting beliefs that don't actually serve your goals. So you got to be ruthless at this point. I know it's hard, but you got to get rid of these people in your life. The next tip, and this is an absolute game changer, is optimizing your sleep. So when I go to bed, I make sure there's no light on in the room, all blacked out. I don't want to eat or drink just before bed because I wake up in the middle of the night, go for a piss, have to take a poo, right? We don't want to do that. When you're in bed to fall asleep faster, you want to meditate, because what happens is there's two outcomes. You can either meditate, get a good meditation and stay up, or you can meditate and fall asleep faster. That's the only possible outcomes. If you take a magnesium supplement a couple of hours before bed, you have deeper and better sleep. Also, furthermore on the sleep environment, I put earplugs in, I have a face mask. Most of the time I have a nose strip on, so increase my airways so I can get more oxygen, therefore have deeper recovery and sleep. And I also put tape over my mouth, so I'm breathing through my nose, because there are immense benefits from breathing through your nose compared to breathing through your mouth. And you want to spend anywhere from 8 to 9 hours in bed. That's not asleep, that's in bed, so you can get anywhere from 7 to 8 hours minimum of being actually asleep. Another thing I do is have white noise in the background. This makes me sleep deeper, but also with that white noise, 2 to 3 hours of it is like meditation music and like a frequency to attract abundance and money in your life. And the remaining 6 to 7 hours are a meditation that actually says affirmations to you. When you're sleeping, your brain's in a certain wavelength and it's more prone to being hypnotized and your subconscious is alert. So if we can train that subconscious, then once your sleep is obviously optimized, that's the next point, is optimizing your health. So you want to make sure you train daily, of course. We know this, guys. But as far as the diet goes, this is the most important. We want to cut out processed foods. I'm not saying go vegan, I'm not saying go paleo or keto or anything like that. But literally cut out processed foods. You know what you should be eating. Ideally have organic with no seed oils. You can have a bit of caffeine if you want to. But as a man, you should 100% be eating eggs, non-negotiable. Minimum 4 per day. When you eat eggs, they're high in cholesterol. When cholesterol goes into your body and when you sleep, that cholesterol is actually a precursor to testosterone. So when you sleep, it converts into more testosterone. So the more eggs you eat directly correlates with having higher testosterone levels. Now that we've got these foundational tips down, the next point is optimizing your social media presence. Now, I'm not saying you have to make all the content in the world, become a course seller, become an influencer. You don't have to do that. At least, at the minimum, make sure that your profiles are set up professionally. Have a clean profile pic, a clean bio, a good name. It can do a lot, right? It can get you in rooms and a network that you previously, with a shit Instagram account, for example, you wouldn't have been invited to. So you can get invited to networking events. You can get people to reach out, and in the sales space for me, you get business opportunities. So So if you've got a marketing agency or anything like that, a business, an e-commerce brand, and you launch that through your personal brand as well, you can literally make more money. So have your social media set up, start producing content consistently, I would recommend, but at the bare minimum, have your socials set up correctly. And not to mention, it makes dating way easier. And that brings me on to my next point, is consider semen retention. First of all, don't watch porn, because it does some things to your brain that is just not healthy, right? But if you're seeing a woman, I advise to only come with that woman 2 times per week. Doesn't mean it's only 2 times per week sex. Just gotta be able to control yourself, gentlemen. But if you can only come twice per week, you're keeping that internal energy in, and then you can apply that to your goals and your visions and to your work and to your training, of course. And then the next point is we want to reprogram our mind. So we obviously said to invest in ourselves, but make sure you're doing courses, make sure you're doing mentorships, you're constantly learning. Audiobooks, books, podcasts, 2 great podcasts I love listening to, all of Chris Williams' podcasts and all of Andrew Huberman's podcasts. So this literally reprograms our mind, guys. Now, the next destroyer of growth is shiny object syndrome. We want to throw that out of the park. Make sure you've done a lot of research before pitching your business model. Don't spend too long on it though, but do your due diligence, do your research. Once you pick your business model, go 12 months, laser focus. That's the only thing. Because the more money you make and the more progress you make in one business, a lot of opportunities open up. So for me, being in sales, I've had the opportunity to start a marketing agency again, or like a content agency, things of that matter, because I've now got the skill. But I know if I just stick with sales, that'll get me to my 50K and then my 100K months. Now the next point is back on reprogramming your mind, not with information you absorb. This is through meditation, through gratitude, through manifestation. Now, I don't want to get too wooey with everyone, but this stuff works. When you visualize a life of your dreams, that you've got it now, and that you've had the successful accomplishments and your goals that you want to accomplish in the future, when you visualize that now and act like you've already got it, it comes. Trust me, it comes. You just have to be a believer and almost be a little bit delusional to it. Because you know when you meet these people, they're all gratitude, manifestation, they don't do any work, they're those type of people. And you're sometimes like, oh, what are you doing? Like, you're not even putting the work in. I've got to be honest, these people get what they want. Like, they literally attract abundance in their life and they're doing minimal work. So us being logical individuals, let's do the work, but also keep that and expand that horizon and make sure that we can have any benefits from that ecosystem. So do your manifestation, do your gratitude, do your visualization. Indoctrinate yourself that it works, and it will work, trust me.
And once you've accomplished some of these goals you thought would be impossible, trust me, it changes your whole perspective on manifestation and all of that good stuff. Now, to wrap this all up, some topics I would recommend anyone should study are sales, human nature, every book related to self-development, and of course, money and finance. Some book recommendations would be The Science of Self-Learning. So that teaches you everything you need to learn, like how to learn. I would also recommend Atomic Habits for the foundational habit building that we need. 48 Laws of Power from Robert Greene. This helped me navigate the corporate structure at a young age. And all of Robert Cialdini's books on influence, persuasion, all of that good stuff. And another book that ties into the last point about your mindset and almost being delusional with the things that you want is Think and Grow Rich from Napoleon Hill. If you guys can apply all of these points, or at least 2 to 3 in your day-to-day life, I guarantee that this will drastically speed up your progress to actually get towards your goal. So make sure you follow me on Instagram, hit subscribe below, drop a comment, smash that like button, and send me a DM on Instagram if you want to apply for my one-on-one coaching. So I'll see you guys on the next video, pop it up on screen now.